Welcome to Nonprofit Profiles. I'm Genevieve Riutort. We all know that homelessness is a significant issue in our community. What you may not realize is that there are a large number of young people who are trying to survive on our streets. Safe Place for Youth provides outreach, hot meals, case management, supplies, information, and referrals to young people who are trying to make their way out of difficult circumstances. Here to tell us more about Safe Place for Youth is Allison Hurst, its founder and executive director. Welcome, Allison.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being on our show.
It's my pleasure.
So please tell me a little bit about how you got involved with this issue of homeless youth.
So I have a couple of kids of my own, and when they were middle school age, I used to go to Venice Beach a lot. My son in particular was a big skateboarder, and so we used to go down there and you'd go skate the new skate park. And I noticed all these kids hanging around and some of them sleeping in sleeping bags. And you know, we're not from the US, so we arrived here about 13 years ago. And I hadn't really seen that in the community that I lived in London. And I was like, where are all these kids coming from? And I realized they were actually living down there. So I did a bit of research and I uncovered that there was actually an enormous issue, not only in Venice Beach, but in Los Angeles County as a whole and across the country. And so I actually began volunteering with another organization, and we'd go to the beach and we'd hand out food packs and socks and supplies. And it really grew from there.
Wow. And how long have you been doing this kind of work?
Well, it's around 9 years. So since I really started that kind of volunteer position where we'd go down to the beach, and actually I did some outreach over in Hollywood Boulevard for a while. So it's been a chunk of time, 9 years.
Wow. And what have you learned? You know, it sounds like you just kind of started just going, I see these kids and what's going on with them. You know, what are the things that you've learned about the challenges that they're facing?
Well, what I've really learned is that it varies enormously. The young people, there's a huge spectrum of different types of young people who are on the streets, from people who have been on the streets since a very young age, or maybe are coming out of a homeless family situation, or the foster care system, or the group home system, to young people who have found themselves in Los Angeles, perhaps have a job, but just don't have people to turn to when things fall apart. So what I've really realized is that it just varies enormously, the issues that the young people are facing.
And I have kids as well. I have teenagers, and I know how much they rely on me for everything. And I can't imagine putting them out in the world on their own and expecting them to just be okay. So I really think about these young people and the fact that for many of them, they don't have the safety net of a family to turn to. So it sounds like Safe Place for Youth is really providing what, in better situations, a family might provide.
Yeah, we try to do as much as we can for the young people, and it's unfortunate that so a lot of people measure these young people the same way they would an adult, a fully formed person who is homeless and on the streets. And really, many of the young people that we serve just don't have the skill set, or they've never been in certain situations. They've never had to get an ID, or they've never had to figure out how to get some kind of medical issue addressed, or address their mental health issues. So they just don't know where to start. And what we try to do is create a safe environment for the young people to come in and really think about what it is, what they need, what they want next for themselves, and not try to press or push our agenda on them, and make them feel safe and create a safe haven. Essentially, that's what we're trying to do.
And what are some of the services that you provide?
So we have a drop-in centre, and in the drop-in centre, we have a lot of different services, for everything from providing a beautifully home-cooked meal, which we have groups of volunteers from all over LA County that come and they take one Thursday a month and bring a beautiful cooked meal, to providing clothing. We have a wonderful clothing closet, and we've set the clothing closet up. It's almost like a store, so the young people can come in and pick a a clean, dry outfit, and really kind of, we take it very seriously in that it's a therapeutic intervention, and basically we're saying to these young people that they're worthwhile taking this kind of effort for, and that they deserve to have clean, dry clothing. They're in a circumstance that's unfortunate, but they deserve to have that. So,
and we know teenagers love shopping.
And we know teenagers love shopping, and you know, it's often assumed we have a lot of donors who donate clothing, and some of the clothing is rather inappropriate for 12 to 25-year-olds. You know, old men's suits, and you know, a lot of people when somebody's perhaps died in the family, they donate carloads of clothing from like 70-year-olds, and really, you know, I really believe that these young people, they deserve to have, you know, some of the things that they need. It's
so to the families that are watching our program, we want them to donate teenager clothing, young people clothing.
We do. We want them to donate casual clothing, t-shirts, jeans, sneakers, all the things that your 12 to 25-year-olds would want to wear. Not, you know, kind of fancy ball gowns and tuxedo suits.
Right, practical things.
Practical things that, you know, that can wear well on the street. The other thing is, you know, nobody wants to take white. They want colours so that they can hide the fact that perhaps, you know, they haven't been able to change their clothing for a few days.
I see.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've learned a lot about the challenges that these young people are facing. What do you think are some of the misconceptions, and you know, what do you find frustrating about what people assume about what these young people are dealing with?
The thing that I find most frustrating is that people assume that they're all the same, and that somehow they've just made a choice not to be part of society and not to play by the rules, and that they just want to goof off, take drugs, and chill out. And nothing could be further from the truth. The vast majority of the young people we serve have the same dreams and desires as my own children. And that's why this work's so fulfilling, because really they really want so much more for themselves. They just don't have the ability to get that completely on their own, as do most young people, even if they're housed up.
Sure, they need us to hold the vision for them.
They need us, exactly. And even children in homes that are very well equipped to, you know, handle things on their own, you know, they still need a lot of hand holding. So, and sometimes we kind of, I think, wrongly assume that these young people should just, I hate this terminology, pull themselves up by the bootstraps and get a job. I'm not sure how you're meant to get a job if you don't have an ID, if you've nowhere to shower, and you don't have an address that somebody can actually inform you that you have been accepted into that position. So it's they really have enormous odds stacked against them, and to me, their commitment and their ability to transcend actually quite unbearable and unthinkable circumstances is really inspiring.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being on our show. Thank you for the work that you're doing to support the young people who are really just trying to achieve the same hopes and dreams as our own kids. It's really admirable work, and I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Coming up, we'll hear from the volunteers that provide services at Safe Place for Youth. Please stay with us.
I thought I had everything under control. Then, one day, something happened. I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't know there was help. Until someone told me.
Providing access to justice, the Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles can help with domestic violence issues, eviction defense, government benefits, immigration, and other civil legal issues.
Welcome back to Nonprofit Profiles. Safe Place for Youth would not be able to provide its invaluable service to homeless youth without the help of dedicated volunteers. Please join me in welcoming two members of that volunteer corps, Sue Levitt and Sally Paquette. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
So I am so thrilled to hear about your experience. Safe Place for Youth sounds like it's really providing some really much needed service to young people. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience volunteering there?
First of all, my experience has been so wonderful. I have to tell you, working with Allison is amazing because she's just unbelievable. But what I started doing is taking intakes on the kids when they would come in, new kids. And the last thing I would ask them is, what can we do to help you? And they would come up with the strangest things.
Do tell.
One boy wanted a new leg. And I said, a new leg? What happened to your old leg? And he pulled up his shirt and showed me that he had a prosthetic leg on.
Oh my.
And he said, I've had it for so long and it's really damaged and it's very hurtful to walk with it.
Oh my gosh.
And I ended up getting him a new leg.
Wow.
For
How did you
free.
do that?
I went on the internet, and first I called Children's Hospital, but he was beyond 18, so they wouldn't help him. So then I found a man who said that his religion required him to be very giving and he would help. And so I took my kid there, and he got a new leg. And the difference.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I have to imagine he must have grown since he first got the prosthetic leg.
And it was the stub was very open wounded and it was uncomfortable, and because of the discomfort of the leg and it being malformed, his back was hurting and his neck was hurting.
Sure.
And I mean, this is a kid going through this experience.
Wow.
Anyway, that was amazing. I then started getting birth certificates for the kids. And I figured out a way to do it on the internet. It's been a real struggle because since 911, it's not easy to get somebody else a birth certificate.
Sure.
But I've gotten over 65 birth certificates. And then we take them to the DMV and they get an ID card for California.
Wow. It's such a basic thing that
It is.
we really take for granted. But what would it be like to not have access to your own birth certificate?
Well, you can't get a job. You can't get food stamps. You can't get any kind of shelter or anything like that unless you can prove that you're a U.S. citizen. And you can't even get medical assistance. You have to go into a hospital, a county-run hospital, and it's forever. It's forever. Whereas if you have proof that you are a U.S. citizen, you're much better taken care of.
Wow, that is amazing.
It is.
So, Sally, can you tell me about your experience?
I started with SPY volunteering about 3 years ago, and it was in the winter, and I remember going the first time that I helped, you know, in all aspects, serving food and helping with anything. It was really cold out, and I thought, my gosh, where do these kids sleep? And that's probably one of the first questions that people come in and ask us is, where do they sleep?
Right. And where do they sleep?
Oh, and over the years, it's just been incredible. They find any shelter, you know, covered shelter in the alleys. It's you don't think about that. I mean, until you start working with an organization like this. Over the years, it's just been amazing. We started with, you know, just the basics, handing out some clothes and food, and now we've grown. It's pretty incredible because now we have food donors that come in and prepare a great balanced meal. We have terrific case managers and counselors. So I think most of the youth are attracted to the fact that we have food and they come in for a hot meal, and then they realize that there is so many other things that once they feel comfortable that they can participate in.
Sure.
And getting counseling or case management, hygiene products. And we now have nights where we have bingo, we have karaoke nights. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. Art projects. So it's really come a long way. And I think.
How many other volunteers are working with the organization?
There's what, about 25?
Wow.
Yeah, and it's sort of split up. Yeah. You asked a question, and I don't think Sally gave you the answer. Where do the kids sleep?
Yeah.
I happen to be a Lion, and my Venice Marina Lions Club has donated money, and we've bought sleeping bags. And we've bought, how many sleeping bags? 200 total over the years? Yeah, and the kids take them, and of course, they're not with them very long. They're stolen.
Oh gosh, that's
a big problem.
A lot of theft.
a lot of theft.
And how many, on the nights that you have hot meals, how many kids are coming to participate in that?
Anywhere between 45 and 75. It depends how many kids are traveling and how many kids are available and how many kids are not someplace else that they have no place to go, and they will come in.
So one of the things that really stood out when Allison was talking is she said kids from ages 12 to 25. Are you really seeing kids that young as 12 or 13?
They've come in with families, like maybe a group of kids together with parents. A few younger kids, 15, 16 on their own. I'd say the majority is probably
18 to 24.
And how much of an issue is substance abuse and mental health issues?
Big deal. Very big issue. Luckily, the Venice Family Clinic has opened up a medical facility in our intake center.
Wow.
They've taken over one of the rooms, and they've got everything in there that they would need. And so the kids can be immunized, they can get antibiotics, they can get any number of things. And I think one of the important things is that the mental illness and the drug abuse has to be dealt with. And we are doing our absolute best to deal with it. We have classes, we have trainings, we have counselors they can talk to. We've gotten several of the kids into sober living facilities where they can and go to AA meetings and stuff like that and learn about the problem and get help and support.
Wow. Well, I just want to thank you both so much for the work that you're doing. It sounds like you are being moms to a large number of kids who otherwise wouldn't have that level of support. So I thank you so much.
We are moms, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to be blood related to be a mom.
Yeah.
I certainly know that, and it sounds like you're providing, information, services, the kinds of things that the kids really need to get started on a better path in life. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Next, we will talk to a client with firsthand experience of how Safe Place for Youth is helping our young people. Please stay with us.
Discover 30 years of opera in Santa Monica. Discover the Verdi Chorus.
Welcome back. Here to give us a first-hand account of how Safe Place for Youth is making a difference is one of their former clients, Mickey. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I really appreciate your willingness to come and share your story, because I know that sometimes it can be difficult to talk about a time in your life when you were experiencing some difficulties, but I'd like to know how you got connected with Safe Place for Youth.
Well, it's actually the 1-year anniversary today of a year ago today I was on the streets for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, I had bags and a little bit of cash, less than $100. And I was so frightened. I've never even, you look at people on the streets and you have like a perception of what you think they are, and then you're one of those people. One day you wake up and it's amazing how that happens. It was actually a Wednesday and the next day was a Thursday, and I went to the Safe Place for Youth. I heard about it. What a choice I made, and now a year later I'm here. They're awesome. They help so much.
And what were the circumstances that led to you being in that situation?
Well, I'm originally from out of state. I had migrated here to get a job. I had a job. I lost the job. It was just a streak of bad breaks. A streak of bad breaks happened, and I, woke up in the middle of the night and I'm sleeping on a sidewalk. It's unreal. I can't believe that I was even there. But positive thinking, people like Allison and all her wonderful volunteers, they enable, they give you resources that you need. If you do want to move forward and help yourself, you can do it.
And what are some of the resources that you were able to take advantage of through your connection with Safe Place for Youth?
Oh boy. Well, every Tuesday and Thursday you get a hot meal. I don't think enough can be said about the volunteers. They're socially, you get in a position like that and you feel pretty low, pretty low. You go there, there's really nice people. It's almost like the only kind of normal social experience I would have. They would all treat you, you know, with the utmost respect, and then not even to begin with the resources, deodorant, toothpaste, razors, clearly. It's so much that they offer. Clothing, I think I said clothing once before. But really just a place to kind of bring your comfort up and feel safe for a couple of hours. It's a safe place for you.
Yeah, and it sounds like also to have a degree of normalcy again, to be able to interact with people. And
it's huge.
I mean, I've never been on the street in that sense, and I don't know what it would be like, but I have to imagine that there might have been times when people either didn't want to look at you or looked at you in a judgmental way.
Yeah, I actually remember luckily I had my phone throughout the whole ordeal. I had just paid my bill a few days before. And I remember I was charging my phone at there's a parking lot in Venice, and people were just walking by all day, and I felt so horrible. I could feel them looking at me, and then the people that weren't looking at me, you could feel that they were trying they were focusing so hard on not looking.
There's an energy there.
Exactly,
anyway.
And it's tough. It's tough, and you go there, and you know, they all know my name and how you doing. It really is great. It gives, like you said, a chance for normalcy again.
And what about some of the other people that were also receiving services? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. It's like Allison was saying, it's such a wide range of people and a wide range of problems and why we're in the position that we are in with nowhere to go. You know, some of them, they are fine with that. The vast majority, they're working towards something better. And it's really is tough. Personally, I caught a break and I got a job. I did work hard, but it was definitely a large break that I caught. And that enabled me. And some kids, they're just not catching those breaks. But with Safe Place for Youth, it enables them. Like I said, if you want to put forth the effort, you go get your ID, you know, go get your birth certificate, you get all set up, you got deodorant, you got toothpaste, you're good. You got new clothes, you got a place to brush your hair and look in the mirror.
Basics.
Yeah, you can go and you can attack it. There's a way of attacking it, but without them, it would be tough. I'm not sure if I would be where I was today without Allison, what she does.
And how did you manage to find your way out of that situation?
Off the streets, like I said, it's been a year ago today.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was from April 24th to the early July. It was straight sleeping on the streets, nowhere to go. Which that's motivation now. That's what keeps me waking up in the morning is remembering that cold at 4:35 in the morning, and the sun's not there, and you can't make it come, and there's nothing you can do to be warm. Or when you're asleep and you're laying on a sidewalk somewhere and you're just about to fall asleep and you're comfortable, and then you realize you're laying on a sidewalk somewhere. You're not safe. People are walking by, continuing with their life, and it's heavy. It's heavy, but it motivates me now to never be in that position again. That, like I said, I pulled myself out. I went and got a job with a construction company. And so from, like I said, July to September, I had lived actually on a job site, and then I got my own place in September. I just saved from July until September. Got enough money for deposit, rent.
That's not easy to do, not for anyone.
No, it's really not. It's really not. And it's so tempting to get sucked into the street life, and people do it, but you gotta rise above, and they really enable you to. They give you a safe place to go, and
it sounds like they
normalcy,
really
so.
provide hope.
They do.
You know, to know that this situation doesn't have to last forever, that you can find your way out, that there are ways to get the things you need.
Very much so. When I was on the streets, I looked for any resource available. I was extremely, extremely unhappy with my situation. And I went to Allison. I forgot what I was saying. I totally forgot what I was saying. I apologize.
Well, I was just saying that they give you hope.
Hope. Yes, that's what I was saying. I was looking for resources. And you go to like government agencies. I went to go get food stamps and all that. Those places are so depressing. There's a couple of others in Venice, which it's not just youth. It's
Right.
all ages, and there's some characters there. And it's tough. You go to one of those places, you can lose hope very quickly. Very quickly. But like I said, the helpers and the volunteers there, it's awesome. I would go kick it with them right now and hang out and have a great time.
Well, I had a chance to meet a couple of the volunteers, and they're lovely.
That's
So
wonderful.
it's so inspiring to hear about the work that Safe Place for Youth is doing. And again, I can't thank you enough for being willing to so honestly share your experience and your story with us. I think it makes a difference and helps people to understand what some of our young people are going through.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Well, thank
you
you so much. for
so
having me.
much.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for being with us for this edition of Nonprofit Profiles. I really hope that you're inspired to find out more about the great work that's being done in our community. For more information on Safe Place for Youth, please visit safeplaceforyouth.org or call 310-902-2283. We'll see you next time on Nonprofit Profiles.